Hi, I'm STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, we're going to be talking about a lot of light in the sky, because if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Back to Basics. And why is that? Because on Saturday, we are having a full moon at 9 degrees of Virgo. And Virgo is a modest earth sign, and it rules our jobs. It rules the traditional 6th house of work and of health, particularly mental health, since Virgo is a mental sign ruled by Mercury. And it also rules accounting and accountability. So Virgos like to have all the facts and details. They like things to add up. And also it rules occupations which are of service to others, such as nursing and teaching and being a social worker, or a fireman, or a policeman, or a community volunteer. That covers a lot of people. But the one thing they all have in common is that they want to be of assistance to others, you know, the helping hand. So a Virgo is very good at problem solving because it is an analytical sign. And since it's ruled by Mercury, Virgos like to sort of separate out the different parts of a problem and look it all over, and then that's how they solve it. They really like to get down to the bottom of things. So that's a way of getting back to basics as well. In other words, if you've been saying to yourself, well, what is the truth about something? Or does something really add up? Maybe this is a good time this weekend on Saturday, when the full moon is in Virgo, to sit down and try to figure a few things out, because this is a very well aspected full moon. And that's because the full moon in Virgo is trining Mars and Uranus in Taurus, and together those three planets are also trining Pluto in Capricorn. So there are 4 planets trining each other in a grand trine in the practical, hardworking, realistic, down-to-earth earth signs themselves. So that's why we need to get back to basics, because while Virgo rules that 6th house of work and health and being of assistance to others, it's trining Taurus, which rules how you make your money and what you spend your money on. So Taurus rules investments. And together those planets in those 2 signs are trining that Pluto in Capricorn, and Capricorn rules your 10th house of career and your public reputation and more or less your work record. In other words, how well you have done over time. And if you have worked hard and received any awards or rewards, those would be showing up as well. So this is a really good time to get real practical about a lot of things. And that would all involve money in a way, and good health, and good communication, and long-term planning, because Capricorn rules retirements and it rules pension funds. So you can really have your mind on that, because these 4 planets are so well aspected among themselves. But we also know that under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. And that means that the full moon at 9 degrees of Virgo is opposing the sun at 9 degrees of Pisces. But that isn't all that's in Pisces. Venus has just entered Pisces. It is at 2 degrees. The sun in Pisces is at 9 degrees, so those planets are within 7-degree orb of each other. They're conjuncting. And then Neptune, the ruler of the sign, is also in Pisces. So these are both mutable signs. Virgo and Pisces are mutable signs. So there are 4 planets opposing each other in mutable signs. And Pisces also rules hidden activities behind the scenes. It rules all areas of confinement, such as jails and prisons and it rules deceptions and omissions and covert activities. So even though there are very good planets in Pisces, you might have to double check a few facts, or there may have been some questionable activities that have been glossed over in one way or another. And this is a time, particularly since there's a grand trine in the earth signs, which like accountability, that people are going to have to go back and be more accountable. In other words, you can't gloss it over if it was a covert activity. Once it's exposed, it has to be remedied or in one way or another. So that is something that you'll need to consider as well. However, Virgo rules modesty. It also is ruled by the number 9. 9 is the highest of all the single digits, and the full moon on Saturday is at the 9th degree. So it really accentuates things that Virgo represents. So this is a time when, you know, modest efforts can pay off very well. It doesn't mean you have to do anything outstanding right now, but if through this whole pandemic and with everything else that we've been facing in the last year, if you have steadily just tried to put one foot in front of the other and do your job, then, you know, you might think that's a modest effort, but those modest efforts can really be paying off right now. You may have developed a very good reputation for being dependable. And that means that people can trust you. And, you know, trust goes a long way. And so that is something that you can benefit from right now if you have been making modest efforts. Another thing that we have to consider, which is wonderful, is that the Sun and Venus are conjuncting in Pisces. Remember, the ruler of that sign is there as well. All 10 planets are direct right now. Mercury had been a retrograde, but now it's direct as well. And so, since the Sun and Venus are conjuncting, and at its very most glorious attribute, Pisces rules miracles. And it can simply be with the Sun conjuncting Venus and the ruler of the sign direct and in the sign, that a more charitable and kind and understanding attitude by people could result in an unbelievable miracle happening. And I'm not certain when it would be happening, but this change of attitude, and certainly coupled with kindness and love and sympathy and understanding and compassion, those things can certainly be present as well. Now, the full moon in Virgo is opposing the planets in Pisces, and it is well fortified. But still, this is a time when you can really go ahead and begin to let your gentler side show. If you want to exhibit compassion or understanding or forgiveness, this would be a good time to do that. But I don't think you should take your eye off the ball. This is a very good time, or even better time, to get back to basics if you can. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. This is just an absolutely wonderful time for you to sort of get a problem solved behind the scenes, Aries. And the reason why is that the Sun, Venus, and Neptune in Pisces are right behind your sun sign. That's a pretty nice place to have Venus. It means that you have few, if any, enemies. Or at least right now, people are not thinking of you in a bad way. They can be thinking of you in a kinder, more gentle, or understanding, or charitable way, which could be pretty nice for you, Aries. And then that is because there are still no planets in the fire signs. It has been weeks that we've gone without any planets in the fire signs. And that simply means nothing much has gotten done. But now we have a grand trine in the earth signs, and oh, those are good planets there, and it simply means that the people who want to get ahead and work hard are really going to do it. I mean, they have a sort of a single-minded purpose, and they actually know that that love flies out the window when there's no food on the table. So they're being a little bit practical about love as well. But they should be, because it's the way that they care for others. So this is a time, Aries, when maybe you can get a little bit kinder treatment behind the scenes, or you could relax a little bit, is what I think. I think if you decided to sort of step back and relax, and if you were just really quiet right now, Aries, you probably would make a very good impression on other people. And since there are no planets and fire signs to aid you, why don't you just go ahead and sort of take the load off this week and relax a little bit if you can. I think it'll make you feel a lot better if you get some more rest. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a wonderful time if you're in Earth sign, and that is because Mars and Uranus in your sign are trining the full moon in Virgo on Saturday, and then Pluto in Capricorn is also trining the full moon and your sun sign as well, Taurus. So this is certainly a good time for you to wind up a rather busy and perhaps contentious period in your life. And the reason why I think you might have encountered some controversy, particularly over the holidays or in the last month, is because Mars has been in your sign along with Uranus, and they're both malefic planets. And yet Mars is about to leave now, and that will be good for you, Taurus. You don't really need, Mars isn't happy in a sign ruled by Venus, and your sign is ruled by Venus. So Taurus, this may be a time that you can relax a little bit, but I think that you have such a good mind about how to be practical and provide well for others. Your sign is called the sign of the good provider, since Venus is your ruler. I think that this is a time when you may be possibly considering how to be even better to your loved ones. A Taurus works very, very hard, and then they like to see results for that. You know, a Taurus likes to get paid well because they do work hard. And also they like to have something to show for it, so they don't mind spending their money on nice things. Well, why don't you go ahead and do that, Taurus? There is a grand trine. And if people have to get back to basics, and some of your basics are a little expensive, I bet you can afford it. So why don't you go ahead and indulge yourself a little bit, Taurus? And that is so that you can enjoy whatever you want to now without sacrificing any long-term plans. In other words, with Pluto and Capricorn trining your sun, you can still be very interested in your long-term security and in a pension or a retirement fund. But you may want to do something that's a little bit more conservative, and you may want to, if you have any profits, you may want to use a little bit of those profits to buy yourself or your loved ones something right now. And the timing would be perfect on that. You should give that a try. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. There are still 5 planets in the fixed signs all squaring each other, and that means the Uranus and Taurus, Uranus and Mars in Taurus are there still and being trined. They're part of the grand trine in earth signs. But there's 3 planets in Aquarius that they are squaring. Only for you, that shouldn't bother you at all, Gemini. And the reason why is those 3 planets in Aquarius, which are Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury right now, are all trining your sun sign. And that is wonderful. It simply means that other people have their mind on the future, and they've got their mind on you too, Gemini. And so you could be making new friends, or you may already have been attracted to new and interesting people that you've met. And I think you should follow up on those encounters, because that could sort of open some new doors for you. And there is a solar eclipse in your sign in June, which is going to signify a new start for you. And it might be with some of the new people that you've met lately. So if I were you, I'd get out and socialize. And you may as well, because the full moon on Saturday in Virgo is squaring your sun, and the Sun, Venus, and Neptune in Pisces are also squaring your sun. Remember, there are 4 planets in mutable signs. Well, they're squaring the other 2 mutable signs, your sign and Sagittarius. So you can be running into a little bit of conflict somewhere in your near vicinity. But on the other hand, are you just going to concentrate on the little problems that are right ahead of you? Or are you going to think a little bigger than that, Gemini, and go for future opportunities? Well, I would do that if I were you, particularly since Jupiter is trining your sun. That could bring you a lot of nice people and very good things in your future. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. This is a time when you actually benefit very much from whatever's going on behind the scenes. And the reason why is that the lights are with you right now, Cancer. And by that I mean that the full moon in Virgo is sextiling your sun, which is good because it's part of a grand trine in earth signs. So Cancer, if you are being a little bit practical right now and you are thinking about getting back to basics, this would be the right time to do it. And you could do it in a modest way. Remember, modest efforts really are going to pay off right now. So you don't have to do too much, Cancer. You just have to want to get in there and sort of be of assistance, if you can, to somebody, or to help some project along. That would be very much appreciated. Or you could just do something that you love right now that is benefits others as well. That would sort of boost your reputation. That would be very good for you. On the other hand, you can be enlightened right now. And that is because that sun is conjuncting Venus in Pisces, and Neptune, the ruler of the sign, is there too, and they are all trining your sun, Cancer. You're coming into a very good time right now. But remember that the sun conjuncting Venus in Pisces right now is an indication of a charitable, more understanding nature by some people, and that could represent some sort of unbelievable miracle that could occur. It may not occur today or in the next week or so, but it could be coming up. It really could be coming up. And if that does occur, you would certainly benefit from it, Cancer. So if there is not a little problem in your family life, for instance, or there has been a few omissions or deceptions behind the scenes that you've known about them or not, once they come out, you may discover that some truths have been glossed over in one way or another. But this is a time when you could sort of accept the truth and set it straight. And you might then be involved in producing some kind of miracle. An unbelievable one, but it could happen. So I hope you do that, Cancer. I think that would be nice. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo, this is a time, once again, when there are no planets in the fire signs at all. This has been going on for weeks, Leo. Do you feel like your hands are tied? Well, they might be in one way or another. But believe me, you too benefit from the lights, Leo, because that Virgo full moon on Saturday sextiles your sun. In fact, it's right ahead of your sun sign. And that means there could be a lot of light on some modest effort that you have been making, and it could be very well received. In other words, somebody could see that you're sort of doing things in a modest way, but they like you for it, or they think that's very practical. Or if you have been sort of steadily working on something little by little, other people would have noticed that by now, Leo, and you might be creating a very good reputation for yourself. And it's just that because it's a modest effort, you may not give yourself enough credit, but others are quite willing to do that. So this can work out pretty well for you, Leo. So what I mean is, don't take yourself for granted, or even just the small things that you're doing. Realize that they can be very important to others and really worth something. And that can turn things around for you too, Leo. Because a modest effort at trying to be of service to others could lead to a much better reputation for you, could lead to a promotion. It could lead to some sort of new beginning that you had not envisioned, but somebody who likes your style has envisioned it. So little things can pay off now, Leo, and I hope you keep that in mind and you just keep going. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. The full moon on Saturday is in your sign, and it's at 9 degrees, the very number that rules your sign, Virgo. 9 is the highest of all the single digits, and it represents finishing. So Virgo, I would say this is God's way of telling you something's got to be finished. Or you may have been going through a period of indecision or confusion, or there could have been some uncertainty about the outcome of something. And now I think you can reach a point where you have gathered enough facts so that you can sum up something or finish and conclude your ideas about it. What could it be? Well, it could be something related to your job. It could be something related to a health matter. Maybe you're having a little talk with yourself about your health and deciding to finally do something about it. Well, that's good. Remember, modest efforts pay off. You wouldn't have to do much. Or it can simply be that you are wanting to decide how to reallocate your financial interests, and you might want to do that with the idea of finishing off a plan that has to do with your long-term security or your retirement. And all of that could work out quite well, Virgo. So I think if you're putting your thinking cap on and trying to see what the long picture is on something, you're going to be able to do it. And that should give you a sustained sense of security, which is wonderful. At the same time, there can be some gentle understanding or a charitable attitude that others can have, and that can be fine as well. But your sign really is a good work sign or job sign or health sign, and that's what you ought to stick to if you can. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. This is a time when I think it's very lucky for you that that full moon in Virgo is right behind your sun sign, because that puts a lot of light in the background of your life, Virgo, or Libra. And that simply means that a health issue for you. Remember, Virgo rules health. It also rules mental health because it's a mental sign. So it can be that a physical health issue is improving for you, Libra. Or it can be that a mental health issue, something that had been causing you distress or anxiety, that is clearing up, okay? Or it's getting to the really treatable stage where, you know, it's not tormenting you or anything. It's something you can really handle, which is just great. Or it may be that you are just a person that likes doing your book work. Remember, Virgo rules accounting. And so maybe this is a really good time for you to sit down, since it's getting to be tax time as well, and try to figure out, you know, just where all your finances are going or what your costs will be for the year. That's a good idea, Libra. At the same time, there are 3 planets in Aquarius: Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, which are all trining your sun. And that simply means there can be some delayed good news, very good news, headed your way, Libra. So I hope that you're open to that as well. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. This is a time when some of the pressure can be off you, Scorpio. Aren't you glad you've been under the pressure of 8 planets in fixed signs continually squaring or opposing your sun sign for months, in fact, since the first of the year. And, you know, some of that pressure has eased. It's not all gone, but there are no longer 8 planets in that configuration. There are 2. There's Uranus and Mars in Taurus, which are opposing your sun sign, meaning that there can be financial worries or even tax or credit problems that you really should ask people about or try to straighten out in one way or another. And then there are also 3 planets in Aquarius that are squaring your sun as well, which means that the future does not present a clear picture to you, Scorpio. There's just a few too many uncertainties out there to get a real clear picture of how your future is going to look. Even how the rest of the year is going to turn out. You may not know that either, Scorpio. But you know, you're beginning to get a feeling for how to get through uncertainty. And the reason why you're beginning to get that feeling and that can boost your confidence is because the Sun, Venus, and Neptune in Pisces are all trining your Sun, Scorpio. There have not been a lot of planets trining each other in the water signs, but now is a very good time for that. And that could even result in some sort of more charitable understanding about others that could represent some sort of unbelievable miracle that just might happen. And you might be a part of that. And if you're not a direct part of that, Scorpio, you could be very happy for whoever else is involved in that. So, and also you're going to learn something about a deception or an omission or something that's been glossed over behind the scenes. And your knowledge about all of that is really going to help you out. That will be beneficial for you to sort of nose around and investigate things right now without saying a word to anybody else, Scorpio. Just get your facts straight. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Once again, no planets in fire signs, nothing getting accomplished. However, there are planets in the mutable signs, and that would affect you, Sagittarius, because yours is a mutable sign. And that simply means that the full moon in Virgo on Saturday squares your sun, and that can mean that there is a health issue that you have to confront. Now, you know, it simply means that you've got to be a little bit more realistic about some health issue. It could be that you need to improve your health a little bit, but it might also be that you have to work a little harder on preventing a health problem as well, you know, sort of getting ahead of it. So you could think about that. And also your book work, either in your financial records or in your handling your bills or your expenses. Some of that needs to be gone over a little bit more carefully right now too, Sagittarius. And then the 3 planets in Pisces, the Sun, Venus, and Neptune, are all squaring your Sun. And that simply means that there could be some information coming out from behind the scenes that allows a cover-up to be exposed. And you may be a little shocked at what comes out, the information that comes out. You may have thought, oh, gee, this sterling character, this person could not be involved in all of this. But the facts don't lie. And if that is one thing that Virgo represents, it's the facts. And remember that full moon is on Saturday and is squaring your sun sign and opposing all those planets in Pisces, which are also squaring your sun sign. So I think you're going to get your eyes open sometime in the next week or so, Sagittarius, about something that has been glossed over behind the scenes that you really are going to have to acknowledge or live with. It may not be about you, but it might be a little bit disillusioning when you find out who it is about. And so try not to plan too much this weekend, Sagittarius. Just just sort of get through things real quietly if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time when I think you really benefit from this full moon in Virgo. Oh, there's a lot of light in Virgo on Saturday, and it's all trining your sun, Capricorn. And Uranus and Mars in Taurus are also trining your sun. And that simply means that if anybody's going to get back to basics right now, it's you, Capricorn. And that would be facing facts about your health, particularly your mental attitude about things, as well as your physical health. Those could be improving quite a bit, which would be great. And handling your paperwork, because tax time is coming, that you could be in the mood for that, believe it or not, Capricorn. And getting all your records straight. And then if there are any investments around, or there's something a little pricey that you've got your eye on, Capricorn, I think that you could probably afford it, or at least why couldn't you work toward affording it? Because it may come within reach, either because the price is lowered a little bit and becomes more affordable, or because there can be some sort of money that you can get your hands on that would help you afford something pretty nice. Why don't you really look into that, Capricorn? Because this grand trine in earth signs is very beneficial for you. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. This is a time when I think that you can be very happy that some of the pressure is off you. And the reason why is there's not as many planets in the fixed signs anymore. There's not 8 of them there, but there are 5. 3 of them are in your sign. Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury are in your sign, and they are all being squared by Mars and Uranus in Taurus. But the planets are about to change, and a couple of them have already. And so Mars will move out of Taurus fairly soon. And when it does, it will stop squaring your sun. And you will not have to worry about high expenses or prices that go up and down. That should be more or less over in another week or 2, or certainly by the middle of March. And then Aquarius, what you're really going to have is Jupiter and Saturn in your sign until the end of the year. Jupiter leaves for a little while, but it'll come back in later on in the spring. However, it simply means that if you decide to move slowly and surely and not skip any steps, you're going to really walk into a bonanza by the end of the year. And so I would slow down a little bit if I was you, Aquarius. Just slow down, back up, make sure you've done everything right. The Virgo full moon is in conjunct or 150 degrees away from your sun sign. But, you know, it's a very well aspected full moon. It's in a grand trine in earth signs. It's not really going to hurt anybody. In fact, it's going to help a lot of people. Why don't you let it help you too, Aquarius? Because there aren't any planets in the other air signs. There's nothing fortifying your sign, but you've got great planets in your sign. So try to slow down and be very meticulous as you move forward. Don't skip any steps, because you could be richly rewarded for your devotion and dedication this year. And that reward would come in December. So I hope you keep working for it. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is simply a time when, yes, you're going to have a little bit of a disagreement with somebody, Pisces. And the reason why is that that full moon in Virgo is opposing 3 wonderful planets in your sign. The sun is conjuncting Venus, and your ruler Neptune is there. All the planets in the heavens are direct. There's a grand trine in the earth signs. This is a time when everybody has to get back to basics, Pisces, including you. But you may not want to. The basic facts and details are ruled by Virgo, and that full moon is opposing your sun sign. And I don't think you want to bother with the facts right now, but you should. You should try to do that. And perhaps you should try a little more closely to pay attention to your health. That's what Virgo rules, Pisces, because your sign is under wonderful aspects right now. I mean, you're going to be blessed with the Sun conjuncting Venus in your own sign. You're going to be charming to everybody, Pisces. People will love that. At the same time, you've got to pay attention to basics, because that's what the full moon is all about. So I hope you do. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.